Hi guys, welcome to C2C Mentors. My name is Ketan and today we're going to talk about decision making as a topic. Decision making is one of the most important topic as far as your XAT is concerned. And I see year on year that there are a lot of mistakes that students do, and they are not the major mistakes. They're like normal mistakes, but then again because of which we lose a lot of marks. Now today the agenda is going to be, I'm going to give you guys around about 9 golden rules to crack decision making, and if anybody who applies these formulas or applies these rules very well can certainly see round about 85 to 90% of accuracy aram se. This is what I can guarantee you if you apply these rules very well. Rule number 1, never put yourself in someone else's shoe. Now this is the most important rule of all. Why? Because I have been observing that whenever we are given a case, so what is decision making? Decision making is nothing but is just a case. It's a case study. It's kind of a scenario. It's kind of an incident that has been given to you, and you've been kind of asked a couple of questions on the basis of that case, and you got to mark the correct answers. And trust me, when you take this entire thing as a case study, then only I think it's going to be really possible for you to get the correct answers. Fine. So number 1, what's happening here? Never put yourself in someone else's shoe. It means never, whenever you solve decision making, try to put yourself in the victim shoe. Let's say there is a case which is HR based case, right? And let's say there is an employee who's been really irregular at the workplace because of whatever, because somebody's sick at his home, or maybe, whatever, it might be a national calamity or whatsoever. And HR decides to kind of, sack him. So most of the time students feel that, it wasn't his fault. Why he was sacked? Because of, because somebody else was, sick at his home, and, because of which he wasn't able to kind of turn up to the office. That doesn't mean that you can sack someone, right? So we put ourselves in his situation, and then we try to become a little bit emotional that, okay, this wasn't a great idea. They shouldn't have done this, all that stuff. Should never put yourself in somebody else's situation. That's number 1. If you do so, you might end up marking wrong answers. That's number 1. Number 2. Whenever you try to do this, also do not try to put yourself in HR's shoe. And then say that, as if I were an HR, I will definitely show some, kind of a sympathy towards this guy. And, I will not take this kind of, hasty decisions. I will speak to him, I will talk to him, so on and so forth. So again, do not try to put yourself into any of the character given in your decision making question. Then, don't be extreme. Again, extreme is something that I want to make it very much clear here is that when I say extreme, what does it mean? It means you have to look out for words. Number 1, words like only. Then you have something called as must. That's something to do with ought to. Or we have something like have to. Should never choose these kind of words because they are always extreme. And in the company environment, in the organization environment, you cannot really take extreme decisions. Again, if somebody was late for a job, or somebody enters late in the office, sacking that employee or replacing that employee or changing his department or kind of transferring him is also an extreme action. So say no to all the extreme actions, or say no to all the extreme options in your decision making. Now, another, go with data exclusively. I see this has been missing since long. Whenever you go ahead and try to mark your options as far as decision making questions are concerned, we tend to assume a lot. So there are a lot of assumptions that take place. People assume a lot. People try to get into the mode of ifs and buts, because of which what happens, you are not able to get the answer quickly. You actually land up in a confusion. So try to stick to the case which has been given there. Always stick to the information that has been provided to you. Nothing beyond that, nothing lesser than that, nothing more than that. You are not supposed to assume anything. You are not supposed to actually even look out for more data. So just take care of this. Whatever has been given in the data, whatever has been given in the case study, on that basis, you are supposed to take actions. And you are supposed to mark your questions answer on the basis of whatever data that has been given to you in the case. Do not go beyond case. Again, emotional decisions, ये बहुत बार होता है. It's a very common mistake, and I think this is one of the underdog, I would say, or one of the most neglected rule, I would say. But yeah, you cannot take the emotional decisions. Now, I'm not gonna really get into the kind of gonna take a dig at it that what emotion and how. You all know that there should not be any kind of emotional decision. Moving ahead, no personal opinion or thoughts. This is another mistake that we do. This is something that just happens, this is very much natural to kind of, happen, these kind of things. So what happens whenever the case has been given to you, you try to take your opinions on that, or you try to apply your own thoughts on that. So you say that, if I were at that place, I would do this, See, I'm kind of a person, I cannot do this. Whenever you get into this kind of a thought process, then there is a problem. Because then you take that case personally. You take that scenario, that incident personally. And that's where you land up giving the answers on a personal note or on a personal way. So don't do that. So no personal opinion, no thoughts, personal thoughts as far as marking those answers are concerned. See, it's a very simple thing. You are a third person. You're only looking at the characters. You have a data, you've got the characters, you have to mark your answers. Just go ahead with whatever data that has been provided to you. Do not try to feel anything for any of the character. And if you don't do that, you will never have this personal opinion or you will never have these personal thoughts. Moving ahead, universal, very important. Whenever you feel or whenever you see that this option is the universal truth, I'll cite an example very quickly. So let's say there is a bank, okay, and that bank is now getting bankrupt. Fine. So there is an option is that the central bank of that country, whatever country it is, the central bank of that country or the apex institution of that country should help to that particular bank. They can probably infuse the funds, give new life to the bank. That's number one. Number two, there might be an answer saying that bailing out can also be a good option. And this is the reality. This is the truth. Whenever the bank starts falling up, the first efforts or the initial efforts are to kind of give that bank a little bit of funds, try to infuse a bit of liquidity. If not, let's bail that bank out. These are the two things that we can think about. Then mergers and acquisitions and all that, we can try to think about that later. But you will not get into, you will not see those kind of technical options. You will see either bailout or infusion of the liquidity. So yes, anything which is universal, you should be marking that answer as a correct answer. Again, whenever I say universal, I also meant to say that management models. You have Porter's 5 forces, you have BCG model, GE model, McKinsey, 7Ps. There's so many things out there. So if you're getting a case which is based on marketing, and if the company screws up on their marketing strategy, and if there is something given as a suggestion that yes, definitely this company should be following Porter's 5 forces, then that can be the answer. I'm just giving an example, but yeah, keep in mind universal rules are always correct. Moving ahead, be sober. Now what I mean by be sober is that, as I told you guys earlier, right? Do not try to put yourself in somebody else's shoe. Just watch the movie and try to do the kind of decision making on the basis of whatever things or whatever data that has been provided to you. So just be sober. This I can put it as optimistic. I think this is the right word. Optimistic, not being biased about anything, right? Being positive about the thing. So that's what I say, like being sober means these three things actually. Moving ahead, always think from company's perspective. Yeah, this is very much important because most of the time, whenever we actually try to give the answers for decision making, we actually fail to think from the company's perspective. Now again, understand, company is a legal entity. Okay, there is a concept called as perpetual succession. Okay, if you are a BCom guy or if you're a C or CFA, you can very well understand what I'm trying to tell you. Perpetual succession means human beings are working with company, but they have the end date. There is an expiry date attached to human beings, but it doesn't happen with the company until unless it kind of gets liquidated. That's the reason. Company is a legal framework. It has the legal identity. It doesn't work on emotions, right? And that is the reason you should always be thinking from the company's perspective without interfering your own emotions and your own thoughts in it. And if you do that way, you will be getting your answers 100% correct. As simple as that. So you should always be thinking about, अच्छा, company make company के लिए क्या अच्छा हो सकता था? What would have been a better deal for the company? So always think from company's perspective. Moving in, this is the last rule, but this is one of the most important rule. Ethics, vision, and principle are of supreme importance. Now there are two things that I can give you a bifurcation. One thing is that you have a company, and on the other side you have vision and principle of company. We fail to actually focus a lot on vision and principles of that particular organization, and we move ahead and try to mark our answers basis on the business. That's wrong. You should not be marking your answers basis on the business if you have a kind of a dilemma, which I'm telling you right now. So there was this case that actually came in XAT. There was this lady, Seema. She was working in a company, and wherein in that company she could see that there is a gender discrimination, because of which she founded a company. She started a company on her own, keeping the vision and the principle and the kind of base or the landscape of that company was that she will recruit equal amount of people in her company. So 50% male and 50% female. That was her main principle. Then what happens eventually, the company starts, the women employee starts leaving the company because of traveling hours and they were not feasible and blah blah blah. So there was one option which says that Seema should be talking to the women employee and giving them the alternative. That's the correct answer. And there was another answer from the business perspective saying that she should not be running after all these women employees. She should be recruiting more male employees and let the business move on. Again, from a business perspective, that's correct. But always remember, your company is standing firm or your company is standing strong only on the basis of your vision and principle. So before business, what comes, or at the first stage, at the first level, if there is anything that can come in the business, that's your vision and the principle. So guys, these are my 9 golden rules. If you apply them, I can assure you 85% to 90% of accuracy. So try to practice them. I have already made a couple of videos on decision making wherein I have actually shown you how do you approach, how do you solve actual XAT questions of decision making. The videos are there on my channel. I will be putting a couple of more videos today and tomorrow before your XAT ka paper. So kindly stick to my channel. If not subscribed, do subscribe and do like and share this video. And thank you so much for watching this video, guys. Thank you so much.